Breaking news on Ford. Phil LeBeau joins us now with the latest.
Look, we can't compete with the very best of the ICE or the BEV world by working on battery electrics from 9 and 10 in the morning. We have to be focused. This announcement's all about focus.
Ford's shaking up the car buying game in a big way. They're making some major changes to how they sell cars, and it's going to affect all of us. This isn't just some small tweak. We're talking about a complete overhaul of the system we've known for decades. I've got the inside scoop on what's coming, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. It's not just about how you'll buy your next car. It's about your wallet, your local community, and the whole auto industry. This change is happening right now, and it's moving fast. Let me break it down for you and show you how to stay ahead of the curve. Let's talk about what's really happening with Ford's EV strategy. They just made a huge announcement that's got everyone talking. Ford's pulling back on electric vehicles in a big way. Remember when Ford was going all in on electric? They were building factories everywhere and hyping up the F-150 Lightning. But now, they've hit the brakes hard. Why the sudden change? It's all about money. Ford's losing $36,000 on every single EV they sell. That's right, every time they sell an electric Ford, it's like they're giving away a stack of cash with it. Ford's not giving up on electric cars completely. They're not that crazy, but they are slowing down big time. They're cutting back production, delaying their EV plans, and taking a hard look at their whole electric strategy. So what's really going on here? The numbers just aren't adding up. Ford can't keep losing money on electric vehicles forever. They're a business after all. At some point, they've got to start making money on these things. It's Ford trying to stop losing money before it's too late. They're looking at their balance sheets and realizing they can't keep going this way. It's like they're driving a car that's burning through cash, and they're searching for the nearest exit. Here's the thing about the auto industry. It moves fast. One minute you're on top, the next you're struggling to keep up. Ford bet big on EVs, thinking they'd be the future, and maybe they still will be. But right now, that future's looking a lot further away than Ford thought. What we're seeing is a company realizing they might have moved too fast. They went all in on electric before the market was really ready. Now they're trying to find a balance between staying competitive in EVs and not going broke in the process. It's a tough spot. Ford's got to keep developing electric tech without losing too much money. They've got to keep one foot in the future while making sure they don't fall behind in the present. This whole situation is a wake-up call for the entire auto industry. It shows just how hard and expensive it is to switch to electric vehicles. Even a big company like Ford is having trouble making it work. So, what does this mean for you if you're looking to buy a car? Well, you might see fewer electric options from Ford for a while. The EVs they do offer might change. And it definitely means the car market is going to get interesting. Keep watching, folks. This is just the beginning. Some companies are even looking more at hybrids now. It's like they're trying to find a middle ground between gas cars and full electric. This whole situation shows how tricky it is to figure out the future of car batteries. For you, if you're thinking about buying a car, this could mean a few things. You might see fewer electric options from Ford in the near future. But don't be surprised if they come out with some new hybrid models instead. And who knows, this could lead to better, more affordable EVs down the road. The car market's changing fast. What Ford's doing now could affect what kind of cars we'll be able to buy in the next few years. And not just from Ford, but from other companies too. Everyone's watching to see how this plays out, so if you're in the market for a new car, especially an electric one, keep your eyes open. Things might look pretty different 6 months or a year from now. It's a crazy time in the auto world, and we're all just watching to see what happens next. Let's talk about what's really going on with Ford's Model E division. Sure, they've hit some bumps, but there's more to the story than just the money stuff. Ford's not giving up on electric cars they can't afford to. The future's still electric, whether they like it or not, but they're definitely changing their game plan. Model E isn't going away, but it's evolving. Here's something interesting. Ford split off Model E as its own division to be more startup-like. You know, move fast, break things. But maybe that wasn't the right move. Maybe they needed to keep it closer to the rest of the company. What does this mean if you're thinking about buying a Ford EV? Well, you might see fewer options in the short term, and the ones you do see, might be different than what Ford originally planned. But check this out. There's a silver lining. Ford's not throwing in the towel. They're just changing their approach. Maybe this means we'll see better, more affordable electric Fords in the future. Sometimes you got to take a step back to move forward, right? One thing's for sure. The auto industry's changing fast. What's happening with Ford's Model E division is just one part of a bigger shift. Everyone's trying to figure out how to make electric cars work. And not just work technically, but work financially too. Look at other car companies. Some of them, like Tesla, have figured out how to make money on EVs. But Ford? They're still trying to crack the code. It's not easy, and Ford's learning that the hard way. So keep your eyes open. The next few years are going to be interesting in the car world. We might see Ford come up with some new tricks. Maybe they'll partner up with other companies. Or maybe they'll find a way to make their EVs stand out from the crowd. Here's the thing. Ford's got a long history of adapting to changes in the auto world. They've been around for over a century, and they've seen a lot of ups and downs. This electric car challenge? It's just the latest hurdle they're facing. What's really interesting is how this compares to Ford's past. Remember when they first started making cars? They changed the whole game with the Model T. Now they're trying to do it again with electric cars. It's not easy, but hey, that's the car business for you. So what's next for Ford's Model E division? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, they're not giving up on electric cars. They're just trying to find a better way to make them work. And who knows, maybe this setback will lead to something even better down the road. Only time will tell. Here's something interesting. In the short term, we might see EV prices drop as Ford clears out inventory. So if you've been eyeing an electric Ford, now might be the time to buy. But don't get too excited. Long term, prices are likely to go up across the board. It's simple supply and demand. Less supply, more demand, higher prices. It's like when a new iPhone comes out. Everyone wants one, but there's not enough to go around. This isn't just a Ford thing. The whole market's gonna feel it. Other car makers are watching Ford closely. If their pullback works out, you can bet others will follow suit. Now let's talk about something else. EVs are losing value fast. Some are dropping half their value in the first year. That's crazy. It's making people think twice about buying new EVs. Why spend all that money if it's going to be worth so much less next year? So what does this mean if you're looking to buy a car? If you want an EV, you might find some good deals soon. But don't wait too long. Those deals won't last forever. And if you're thinking gas or hybrid, keep an eye on Ford. They might come out with some interesting options. Remember, the car market's always changing. What's expensive today might be a bargain tomorrow. So stay sharp, do your research, and don't be afraid to shop around. In this market, knowing your stuff might just save you a bunch of cash. Dealerships are feeling the heat from Ford's EV pullback. These guys invested big in the electric future, and now they're stuck. It's not just about the money. Their whole business model is at risk. Ford dealers are caught in the middle of this big pivot. They spent serious cash getting ready for EVs. Charging stations, special tools, staff training. Now all that investment might go to waste. Some dealers are sitting on lots full of electric cars nobody wants. Every day those cars sit there, they're losing money. It's like watching their savings drain in real time. But it's more than just unsold cars. These dealers changed everything for EVs. New hires, mechanic training, showroom redesigns, all for nothing. Now they're scrambling to figure out what's next. This isn't just a few isolated cases, it's happening all over the country. Some dealers might have to close up shop. Others will have to adapt fast. Either way, it's a tough road ahead. And guess what? We lose out too. With dealers struggling, customer service is going to take a hit. Expect staff cuts, reduced hours, or less training. Your next car buying or repair experience might not be as smooth as before. We're seeing a total shakeup in how we buy cars. Ford's talking about more online sales and virtual showrooms. Dealers are worried they're being pushed out of their own business. So what's next for Ford dealerships? Some might close for good. Others will have to completely change how they operate. Maybe they'll focus more on service or become delivery centers for online sales. The auto industry is always changing, but this is different. It's about the future of how we buy and service our cars. And right now, that future's looking pretty uncertain for a lot of people in the business. All right, let's talk about Ford's latest move with their battery plans. They're shaking things up, and it's got everyone in the auto world talking. Ford just announced a new battery factory in Michigan. This plant's going to make batteries for the Mustang Mach-E and other electric models. It's a big deal because it shows Ford's still in the EV game, but they're changing their approach. Here's what's interesting. Ford's not going all in on EVs like planned before. They're being more careful now. They're looking at how many people are actually buying electric cars and how much it costs to make them. And they're not the only ones. A lot of car companies are rethinking their EV strategies. Let's talk cold hard cash, or in Ford's case, the lack of it. Ford's EV division is burning through money faster than you can say electric vehicle. Here's the thing. Every time Ford sells an EV, they're losing $36,000. It's like they're handing out stacks of cash with each set of keys. Can you imagine running a business like that? Sell more. Lose more. It's crazy. Ford's trying to stop the bleeding. They're cutting EV production by half. But even with fewer EVs rolling off the line, they're still going to lose billions. It's not looking good. So how much money is Ford actually losing on electric cars? Brace yourself. We're talking $5 billion this year alone on EVs. That's not chump change. That's serious money that could buy a whole lot of F-150S. The whole auto industry is struggling with this. Making EVs profitable is tough. It takes a ton of investment in new tech, new factories, new everything. And all that costs money. A lot of money. Here's what's happening. Ford and other car makers are pouring billions into EVs, hoping they'll pay off down the road. But right now, it's like throwing money into a black hole. They're betting big on a future that's taking its sweet time to arrive. And it's not just about making the cars. There's all this other stuff too. Charging stations, battery tech, software. It's like building a whole new industry from scratch. And let me tell you, that doesn't come cheap. The experts are saying the path to making money on EVs is still pretty foggy. Nobody knows for sure when or even if traditional car companies will start seeing green on their EV balance sheets. Ford's realizing they can't keep this up. Something's got to give. They're already cutting back on their EV investments, dropping from 40% to 30%. It's like they're saying, whoa, let's pump the brakes a bit here. But here's the kicker. Ford's whole financial picture is under pressure. They're dealing with all sorts of other costs too. Warranties, recalls, you name it. It's like they're getting hit from all sides. What's happening is a wake-up call for the entire auto industry. Making the switch to electric isn't easy. It takes time. It's expensive. And there's no guarantee you're heading in the right direction. So keep your eyes open, folks. This EV revolution, it's going to be a bumpy ride. And for companies like Ford, it's turning out to be one expensive road trip. Ford's pulling back on EVs is shaking up the auto industry, and it's going to affect your wallet. With fewer electric options, prices could go up. It's like when there's only one gas station in town. They can charge whatever they want. But Ford's not just ditching EVs. They're shifting focus back to gas cars and hybrids. Why? Well, have you seen gas prices lately? They're not exactly pushing everyone towards electric. Let's talk numbers. Ford's new cars are getting expensive. We're talking an average of $48,000. That's higher than the industry average of $45,000. Ford's trying to be all fancy, but are people buying it? I'm not so sure. Ford's pricing strategy is raising eyebrows, and not in a good way. The average new Ford is hitting $48,000, way above the industry average. Ford's trying to position itself as a premium brand, but is this plan actually working? I'm not so sure. People are starting to balk at these prices. With the economy the way it is, dropping nearly 50 grand on a new car isn't easy for most folks. We're seeing potential buyers step back and say, whoa, hold on a minute. Check this out. Ford's got models like the Bronco and Expedition with some trims hitting $75,000 or more. That's luxury car territory. For a Ford, it's got a lot of people scratching their heads. Ford's trying to be fancy, but they might be overshooting the mark. They're forgetting their core customers who've been buying Fords for years because they were reliable and affordable. Now, not so much on the affordable part. Look at this. Ford's inventory is piling up. Too many cars sitting on dealer lots. That's a bad sign. It means people aren't buying at the rate Ford expected. It's hitting their stock price too. Investors are getting nervous. Here's another problem. Ford's been having quality control issues. Over 20 major recalls in 2023 alone. Hundreds of thousands of vehicles affected. Now people are asking, why am I paying premium prices for a car that might have problems? Consumer satisfaction ratings for Ford? They're lower than industry leaders like Toyota and Honda. Ford's asking for more money but not delivering more value. That's trouble. I'm hearing from a lot of people who are fed up. Some are even thinking about selling their new Fords and going for cheaper, used options instead. That's not good for Ford. Ford needs to take a hard look at their pricing strategy. They can't keep pushing these high prices if they want to keep their customer base. The market's speaking, and Ford better start listening. Otherwise, they might end up with lots full of cars nobody wants to buy at those prices. Ford's cooking up something big. Virtual showrooms. We're talking 3D online experiences where you can shop for a car right from your couch. No need to put on pants or deal with salespeople. Just fire up your computer and start browsing. Here's what Ford's planning. They want to create these immersive online spaces where you can check out their cars in detail. You'll be able to see the cars from all angles, peek inside, and even customize them on the spot. It's like playing a video game. But instead of killing zombies, you're picking out your next ride. Now, this might sound pretty cool, and for some people it will be. Imagine being able to walk around a new Ford Mustang at 2 a.m. in your pajamas. Or compare different models side by side without having to drive all over town. For tech-savvy buyers, especially younger folks, this could be a big deal. But here's the thing. A lot of people still like to kick the tires. They want to sit in the driver's seat, feel the steering wheel, and maybe even take a whiff of that new car smell. You can't do that with a 3D model, no matter how fancy it is. And what about test drives? That's a big part of buying a car for many people. You want to feel how it handles, hear the engine, see how it fits your lifestyle. Last time I checked, you can't test drive a computer image. So what's Ford trying to do here? It's pretty clear. They're aiming to appeal to younger buyers. By moving more of the sales process online, they can reach those tech-savvy millennials and Gen Z buyers who are used to doing everything on their phones. But it's a gamble. Ford's feeling the pressure from online-only car sellers like Carvana and Vroom. These companies have been shaking up the industry, and Ford's trying to keep up. Ford's got an advantage those online-only guys don't. Their existing dealer network, so they're not completely ditching physical dealerships. Instead, they're talking about a hybrid model. You might start your car buying journey online, but still have the option to visit a dealership for a test drive or to finalize the sale. Look, the car buying experience is changing. That's just a fact. And Ford's trying to stay ahead of the curve with these virtual showrooms. But will customers buy in? That's the million-dollar question. Only time will tell if we're all going to be shopping for our next car in our slippers. Check this out. Ford's Model E division, the one all about electric vehicles, they lost $1.1 billion in just 3 months. That's crazy money. And you know what happens when a company loses that kind of cash? They start looking for ways to cut costs. Usually that means cutting jobs. But it's not just Ford employees at risk. Think about all the suppliers making parts for Ford cars, the dealerships selling them, the local businesses that depend on Ford workers as customers. When Ford sneezes, whole communities catch a cold. Let me show you how serious this is. Experts are saying the shift to electric vehicles and automation could wipe out up to 1.4 million jobs in the US by 2030. That's not just a number, that's entire towns potentially going under. Now, you might be wondering, how many jobs are we really talking about here? It's hard to pin down an exact number, but we're talking thousands from Ford alone. And when you factor in all those suppliers and local businesses, we could be looking at tens of thousands of jobs on the line. Here's another thing to think about. Ford's closing dealerships and moving to this digital-first model. Sounds cool, right? But what about all those people who work at dealerships? Sales staff, mechanics, office workers. Where do they go? Look, I'm not saying Ford shouldn't change with the times, but we need to be real about what these changes mean for real people. This isn't just about car prices or new tech, it's about livelihoods and the future of American manufacturing. So next time you hear about Ford's big plans or see a new electric car, remember there's more to the story. Behind every corporate decision, there are thousands of lives that could be turned upside down. That's the real cost of Ford's shakeup, and it's something we all need to be talking about. Let's wrap this up. The car market's shifting fast, and Ford's shakeup is just the beginning. What you can buy and how much you'll pay, that's all changing right now. Here's the thing. Other companies are watching Ford closely. They might follow their lead. This means big changes for anyone looking to buy a car soon. Staying informed is key if you want to get a good deal. Keep your eyes open, do your research, and be ready to adapt. The car world's changing fast, and you don't want to miss out on the best options for your wallet. Remember, knowledge is power in this market. Stay smart, stay alert, and you'll be in the driver's seat when it comes to your next car purchase.